Wah, sempurna lah Taycan ni, sempurna. What is perfect? What is wonderful in German? Wunderbar. Here's what happened. There's a new Taycan out, and Porsche invited us and quite a few others to take a drive in it, basically from KL to Kuantan and back. But on the way back, we'll have the good thing to also check out another Taycan, the Celestial Jade, made by Porsche's Sonderwunsch program. It's a very beautiful but very one-of-a-kind car on the Malaysian stop of its regional tour, before ultimately heading back to KL. We pick up at the end of the day one drive, and clearly we haven't been able to shake off the rain. The Porsche Taycan was one of the first EVs I ever driven, and one of the first cars I ever reviewed on video. Kind of embarrassing, but true. In this baby blue, I'm not sure if I'm a fan of the wheels, but it's 20 inches. But the car is so comfortable even with these huge wheels. So the Porsche Taycan in general is quite special for me. Winding back the clock to earlier that day, things began pretty rough. The rain was relentless as we left that morning and only cleared up a little bit once we gained some altitude and escaped the Klang Valley. The new Taycan is really a bit more of a facelift, but not the one you might spot right away unless you know what to look for. On looks, they've dropped, or is it shed, that tear-shaped headlight element. There's a revised front bumper, and there's now a rear illumination element with the Porsche lettering. The bigger changes are deeper and more technical. Design optimizations have led to a 15 kilogram reduction in weight across the board, and they've reworked their inverter, thermal management system, and regen braking system to yield more range. The car we'll be driving is the base Taycan, or the Taycan full stop as I call it. This one, priced at 575k, gets a rear-wheel drive motor with 408 PS, which, when optioned with Performance Battery Plus, has a huge 105 kilowatt-hour battery. 0 to 100 takes 4.8 seconds, half a second quicker than before, while range shoots from about 500 kilometers in the old model to almost 680 kilometers with Performance Battery Plus. And then there's the 4S Cross Turismo. Sorry in advance if I fanboy a bit over how good it looks. This one sits at 700,000 ringgit. It's got dual motors with their powers combined, makes 544 PS, 0 to 100 in 3.7 seconds. The old model range was about 510 kilometers, and the new model range is 640 kilometers with Performance Battery Plus. All Taycans following this facelift also get a stupid fast DC max charging rate of 320 kilowatts. AC charging on all Taycans tops out at 22 kilowatts. But what I really want to know is, it is still the best driver's EV out there, not to mention the sexiest. Let's find out. I'm Jim, this is Carlist. There's just something about the way you sit in this car that is just so perfect. You sit very low, but you're always very in control. Everything is sort of laid out very nicely for you. Everything is at hand. Everything is still digital, but still quite tactile and organic and intuitive. Driverless display, infotainment screen, a new passenger side screen as well, just so you can control all the multimedia stuff. Center console over here, you have all the interfaces for HVAC, air conditioning stuff. But there's also integration with the digital. Like I said, over here on the edges of the screen, you have suspension controls, you have ride height controls for the air suspension and traction controls. It is all just really integrated very well. And of course, Porsche build quality is insanely good. You have the Sport Chrono Clock over here, which I wasn't aware of last time I drove the 4S. And the thing is, this is a quartz clock, or at least it ticks in certain seconds, okay? Every single second, one tick. But the ticks are so smooth, it just satisfies my OCD so nicely. Every single tick is so solid, there's no play in between the seconds clock at all. And the ticks are so precise and sharp and even padded in a way. It feels weird, okay? Other quirks about this car is that this screen over here will not work if you just simply tap on it. So it'll vibrate the screen just the way your iPhone would when you tap it with force. Very, very cool stuff. And if I notice over here that the wireless charger is a little bit missing, but I go into the glove compartment, which I admit is quite really, really shallow, but there's a little slot over here to put your phone in, and therefore you can wirelessly charge. And one more thing, right? When you get a Porsche Taycan, it's a special experience, so they make the key special as well. Your key is color matched to the car that you bought. But what I really, really want to drive is this, the Cross Turismo, okay? I just can't resist a good wagon. This thing looks amazing. It is more practical in terms of headroom, way more than the coupe or the sedan, I guess. Close up the door, and you realize that, you know what? You can't even sit in the middle, even if you tried. There is a big hump, just like the sedan, but over here it's like a storage tray. So I guess you can fit your butt into this thing, but it'll be very, very uncomfortable. You still have the standard, cup holders and armrests, but besides that, it is still a very comfortable experience. You got sports seats, a lot of bolstering on your seats as well. It is a nice place to sit. Not the most practical, but you buy a Porsche, you want a car that makes you feel like you're in a Porsche. And of course, you get a bigger boot. And of course, you get also a larger loading aperture, but the real pleasure of the Cross Turismo is the rear end. Look at the way this thing curves around. The hips is so good. I just want to... Through the magic of video editing, now we're in the Cross Turismo and we're on the next day. So I'm wearing a different shirt and everything. We just got done with the preview, debut, whatever, of the one-off Celestial Jade Taycan Turbo S, which was amazing, by the way. Now we're kind of descending Genting, going through all the sneaking corners, and it's just something about the way this car is at the front end just tracks, it just hooks up. And yesterday we were driving the rear-wheel drive variant. That was fun, and I had about 400 PS and 400 meters. This is the 4S Cross Turismo, and you're always aware you're in the Cross Turismo because of the way people look at you. This car is spectacularly gorgeous. The way its shoulders kind of like flare up, and it's just so sexy. What can I say? But this car is also much faster. We were on the highway just now between Kuantan and Genting, and this car got up to 248. There's a limit to 250, so it very much sticks to that, but it felt completely stable, completely planted. It had no trouble getting up to that speed. On a whim, it'll just go. You don't have to be in like sport plus, sport mode, whatever. I was in range mode, hitting the limiter. Crazy car this is. But it's really how you sit in the car that is so superb. Yes, it's an EV, but there's just something about the way they've calibrated everything, the steering, the way Porsche nailed electronic steering in their previous cars, in the 718, was just about perfect. And now they have applied it to here. 4 years later, I'm still kind of blown away with how this thing steers. The power you can modulate more accurately than any other EV. And it's still, I keep saying this, it's still so good to look at. In front of me is the same color that I drove back in 2020, the baby blue Taycan. Back then it was a 4S, but this is a Taycan rear-wheel drive, but it's still so good. In here, in fact, I can't even really tell. All the finishing is the same as the Taycan standard, the rear-wheel drive. All the materials, all the finishing, all the switchgear is the same. I still got the sport chrono clock in front of me, and the experience is just as premium. So if you were expecting to buy the Taycan thinking it might be a more compromised car, that you're buying the standard Taycan and you should feel bad, don't. Because it'll give you that same premium experience behind the driver's seat, and frankly, even in the back seat, as a Cross Turismo 4S. Oh, so good. I'm in normal mode right now. I'm not even bothering to turn it into Sport Plus, also for the benefit of the people sitting in the back seat right now. But it's just great. And at low speeds, it has that, whatever sci-fi sound that they've engineered into this car is an experience. We've managed to make the car steer very good. And then they paused for a while, and then they figured out, how do we make that experience extra special? Is there anything else we can do? Can we tweak the seating position? Can we tweak the switchgear to make everything kind of rise up and cocoon you and make you feel like you're in a proper sports car, in a Porsche? What can we do to translate the Porsche 911 experience, the Porsche GT cars experience, the Porsche 918 experience into the Taycan? And there is flashes of that DNA every so often in here. It's really special. I wish I could show you B-roll of me driving another Taycan sedan behind the Cross Turismo, because you're giving everyone a show behind you. Like right now, behind me is a KN, the supercar. I'm giving him a show just by driving in front. And even at slow speeds, you've got the air suspension cushioning your ride. You're still very low to the ground, even though they build this as a Cross Turismo. It's just superb. Can I use that? Can I use that as the opening as the opening like catchphrase. Wah, sempurna lah Taycan ni sempurna. What is perfect? What is wonderful in German? Wunderbar.